This is CG Ruthless Sports. I will be brutally honest. Ain't nothing but being brutally honest. Coming at you with another video.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back our OurSF49ers. Raj, he's back at the building once again. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How you doing, Ruthless? I'm excited for the damn season to start next week, man. We got a game on Sunday, and it is a real game, man. I'm hyped up. What's up, brother?
Yeah, not much, man. Same here, dude. It's just kind of exciting. And hey, your channel's booming, bro. It's already up to the 4K, man. I'm happy. Congrats, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, the fans are awesome. You know, they love the content, so we just keep coming up with it, and we just keep pushing it out there. You know, they see me on all my other socials, so they've been supportive of me since I started the YouTube. So I'm just nothing but respect to everybody, man. Appreciate all the support.
Yeah, I respect the grind, man. You're growing pretty quickly than most people are, man. You're trending, man, in the right direction.
I appreciate it. I try my hardest, man. You know, it's not easy, and you know, I try to give everybody pointers and tips, and I give everybody help as much as they want. You know, I've had a lot of people ask me, and, you know, I feel like we should all help each other grow in this community, and that's what it's about, man.
That's what I like about you, man. You do help a lot, man. You do good on your own cause, and yeah, man, it's a good vibe, man. This community is growing as a unit. We have our own separate groups, but we all represent the same team. But it's just exciting just to see one another just succeed at that next step, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see it. When I see people that I've been talking to, like you, I see you and you start popping off. I see other people like Wayne Breezy. I talked with him a lot, and other content creators. When they start growing and they get someone big on their show, it's cool for me to see that, because, you know, we're all buddies. We're all friends in this. I don't feel like there should be any competition, and, you know, we all trying to grind. We're all trying to eat from the same pie, you know? So it's just fun when I see succeed.
That's true, man. But speaking of it, man, what's very interesting about almost last week, man, was the shocking that we decided to keep Jimmy Garoppolo, the shocking that he decided to take a pay cut, man. What was your reaction of it, man?
My initial reaction, if you saw my live, I was a little shook. I think everybody was. I saw the notification, and I was like, what? I was like, what is going on? Because, I mean, all off season, it was rumors. Jimmy going here, they're doing this, they're going here, da. Like, it was rumors central, man. And then boom, you know, as the weeks kind of started going closer to the, you know, cut day, the final cut day, it kind of got a little weird, because Kyle Shanahan was like, well, any situation's possible. And John Lynch was like, oh, well, we still don't have a trade. And it kind of started trending that way. But the big question was like, and everybody kept saying it, was they're going to keep Jimmy with the $25 million contract. So I think the move that, you know, like you said, that he took the pay cut, that was the surprise, because I didn't think Jimmy was going to stay on this roster to be a backup at a discount. But, you know, he took a friendly deal, and he you know, helped the team out in a big way, took a big pay cut. But, you know, in his defense, he does have incentives built into his contract. So if bearing injury, if he ends up playing, he's got incentives to make it more money. So it was a smart move by everybody. Again, initially, I was shook, man. I tell you, I was so shocked. But at the end of it, and looking back and reading all the, you know, the news, and hearing other people, and then hearing Lynch talk about it, and hearing Kyle talk about it, it makes sense. I know there's some people that don't like it, but it ended up being the right move. And I think the biggest thing that really sits well with me is, at least there's not going to be oh, is Jimmy going to get traded? Talk. Like, there's going to be more talk going on as the season, and that's a whole different talk, and we'll get to it. But the whole big thing is, there's kind of like resolution. At least we know what happened with Jimmy. He stayed on the team for another year, at least, you know?
Yeah, he gets time to recover now, so he doesn't have to be thrown in as a starter, because he's still recovering from shoulder surgery. So part. The surprising part about it was earlier during the offseason, I said the only way I would be fine with Garoppolo staying is if he took that significant pay cut. And for whatever reason, it just took a long time for it to happen. And I said, hey, if he takes the pay cut, then hey, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. Is again, I said the same thing. I was like, I don't think he's gonna take a pay cut. You're gonna pay a backup quarterback $25 million. That's crazy. But the fact he took the big pay cut, like it's a big move by Jimmy. And he handled it well. Trey Lance handled this well. And I think the biggest, takeaway from what Kyle and Lynch and everybody said, this is Trey's team. I think people need to not get that twisted. Trey's QB1, and the tables, have flipped. Last year, Trey was sitting back. He was learning, and he was seeing Jimmy be QB1, and, he was in the cut. And now Trey's QB1, and Jimmy gets to sit back, help him, like you said, heal. And if there's like a mid-season team that has a crisis and they need a quarterback, then they could go and trade Jimmy, and he'll be healthy. And, and he's a good bridge quarterback, a good mentor. And then the other cool thing about the whole situation is, okay, middle of the game, Trey, he might need some help, or he might need to ask somebody something on the sideline. You probably don't want to ask Kyle. He's going to be pissed off already. He's got enough on his plate. He can go ask Jimmy, like, yo, Jimmy, what do you think about this? They can help each other. And Jimmy's the veteran. He's been in this league for a long time, so he can help Trey along the way. You don't want to piss off Kyle when he's screaming at some wide receiver. He's got someone else in the doghouse. I think it's good for Trey. He's going to have that big brother, like he said, help him out. And I think, at the end of the day, it's good, because look what happens with the Niners ever since, they took Jimmy and Kyle Shanahan was on this coaching staff and John Lynch was the GM. They get hurt at quarterback every year. I hope Trey Lance does it, but it's the NFL. Injuries happen. And we've had Beathard and Mullins, and no disrespect to them, they couldn't win games. Now, if Trey gets hurt, you would suspect Jimmy can come in, pick it up, and they can win games, right? Because everybody says Jimmy wins games. So if Trey Lance has some injuries, they're not going to miss a beat. So I think it was a smart move. Again, in the long run, the locker room is tough. These guys are very mature. They're adults, and they're all about winning games. So it's a good move.
Yeah, it is in a way, because, injuries can happen. And a lot of teams, like you just said, under the previous regime with Kyle Shanahan, we've always had a stacked team. Just the injuries have pretty much derailed our season. So it's always been common with the quarterback position. Like, as soon as our quarterback is out, Mullins and Beathard don't cut it. We barely get maybe 1 or 2 wins combined with those two quarterbacks. That doesn't cut it in this league. So we already know what we get with Jimmy Garoppolo. A healthy Jimmy Garoppolo is a proven winner. Trey Lance, a lot of the question marks, limited experience, and I get that part, but he'll be able to silence the doubters on this game. I mean, he's already played 2 games as a starter last year, so he's got experience, just needs to build more momentum, and hopefully that's what we're looking at. But when we look at Trey Lance, I just like the upside, what he could do. The accuracy needs some work here and there, but it's all about the experience at the end of the day.
Yeah, he's a young quarterback. He's going to go through his ups and downs, and that's what it is. But the more reps he gets mentally, physically, he's going to improve. He has the ceiling. He wouldn't have been drafted that high if he didn't have the talent. So we know it's there. He's got to kind of get that fine-tuning and go out there, get the experience, learn from his mistakes. And I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to have some bad days, some good days, go through his ups and downs. But, Kyle's going to have to trust him and let him develop. And Jimmy's going to be in his ear, and he's going to be like an extension of the coaching staff, and that's the one thing I like, because I know we have a new quarterback coach, Greasy, but really he's never been a quarterback coach. I think he's a smart, football guy. He's been an analyst. He's played in the league. His dad was a great quarterback, so I'm sure he's a good football mind. But Jimmy knows this offense, and he can help Greasy help Trey. So again, he'll be an extension of the coaching staff. I really like what they did here. And again, I think the biggest win of it all is Jimmy took a big pay cut. They could go sign a guy in midseason if they need to. They can go trade for someone if they really need to. They got more money, and Jimmy, took a big friendly cut, and I think that's going to help him in the long run. One of the things that Lynch was saying this week is that they are looking at extending some of their guys on their team. There's a lot of players on a contract year. Emmanuel Mosley, Dre Greenlaw, Azeez Al-Shahir. There's a big list, and maybe they'll look into getting some of these guys and lock them up during the season so they don't have to worry about it later in the season. Because you know how it is in the off season, man. We're stressing. Are they going to be able to sign this guy? You'll have people hashtag pay this guy, hashtag pay this guy on Twitter. You know how it goes. So now maybe they'll have a little bit more money to kind of get some of those guys before that off season goes. And I think it's a good move overall.
Yeah, as long as we build on, like the way I look at it, like when we get all the players, it's like, yeah, we definitely got to focus on getting both of that contract at some point. But that, like you said, we'd be able to get some time to get some new contracts with these players. But when I look at the long haul of what we got going forward, like, man, we're starting to make some crazy cuts now. Like those roster cuts are dead serious. Like, hey, like Trey Sermon just didn't make the cut for whatever reason because we had too much good running backs. And then I had a feeling Jason Poe was going to get cut because I felt like he was just 1 year away from maybe developing into a pretty solid contributor guy for us. But there's some cuts that I had a feeling this was going to happen.
Yeah, that man. This Niner team is stacked with talent, and the depth is always layers of great players. And that's the thing. If someone goes down, that next man up should come in and be solid player. And that's the thing is, when it's cut season, when it's the off season, it's ready to get people moving out and try to make that 53-man roster. You know that somebody good is not going to make it, or someone that you think it should make it is not. It's hard because they got a lot of rookies, they got a lot of undrafted guys that really step up, they play hungry, and then you got guys that really earned it from last year. So now they're going to make a cut. And Jason Poe, I love the guy. They knew that it was a risky move cutting him because a lot of people would try to get him. But, I think the thing that really saved him, unfortunately, he is a little undersized in the NFL, a small guy. But the Niners know what they have. Very versatile. He could play guard and center. But they had Nick Zakelj, who really stepped up and developed over the last couple of weeks, and he was a draft pick. You don't want to cut all your draft picks and take a risk, because they cut Castro Fields, and he got snagged up by the Commanders. So they had to make sure they kept most of their rookies. Jason Poe, I think they rolled the dice. Luckily for them, he's versatile, but he's not versatile enough where they needed him at tackle. So they had to go with some other players. But, yeah, I love Jason Poe. Definitely was a tough cut, but I'm glad he was able to make it back to the team. Kamoko Toure, I was shook, but I'm glad he made it back to the team. I thought for sure he was going to get claimed. This guy was all over the place on the preseason. And then we talk about Trey Sermon. I just don't think he fit the system. And I'm glad that they didn't, stick with him because if he wasn't a fit, mentally he just wouldn't have been able to get it, rolling. I think he needs a clean slate, a fresh start somewhere else. And Jordan Mason, man, he outplayed him. And you have to reward the guy that came in and played his ass off. And that's what the thing is. The Niners, Kyle Shanahan knows how to draft these late-round guys, these undrafted players, and they work harder than anybody. So Trey Sermon, unfortunately for him, he's on the outskirts, and he gets a fresh start with Philly. Maybe it'll be a better fit for him. But, man, yeah, it was definitely a crazy week, man.
Yeah, it was. And then we just signed that offensive lineman from the Browns, Blake,
Blake Hance.
But, oh, yeah, there you go, Blake Hance. It's kind of like it sounds like the way it sounds like Trey Lance's name, but it goes with Blake Hance. Okay, when I saw this pickup, like you said, this was like a dollar store pickup. We develop him. Like, you don't even know who he is until we start using him. So I watched a film of him against Joey Bosa. He held his own a little bit. So there's a little bit to like about him. I think he was playing tackle last year for the Browns, 8 starts.
Yeah, he played tackle for them. He played, I think, 10 games. He played mostly on the tackle spot. But the cool thing about him is he's versatile. And the Niners, they love versatility, right? So he could play center, which I think they're going to actually have him in and play center. And then he could play a little bit of tackle. And they need tackle depth because Mike McGlinchey, we don't know if he's going to be able to be healthy. I don't think McGlinchey makes it through the season, unfortunately. Quad tear. He's already got knee irritation. I mean, I hope he does, but I'm a little worried about that. And you need a little depth. You got Brunskill who could play, but he's also dealing with the hamstring injury. So, yeah, Blake Hance was brought in, and that was the guy that when they brought him in, they had to cut someone, and that someone was Trey Sermon. So I think they were hoping, yeah, maybe he can clear waivers and we'll get him back on the practice squad. But honestly, they like the running backs they have, and I think they're set up for greatness at running back as long as they don't get injuries, because they get a lot of injuries every year at the running back position because they run so much. They're a very physical team, and it is bound to happen. So if they can stay healthy, we're good. But last year, when they were on the waiver wire, I feel like every week signing a new running back, like every single week. So they got to stay healthy. That's a tough one.
Yeah, the previous years, it's always been like we always get these guys off the streets eventually if the practice squad players can't stay healthy. Like over the years, it's always been the running back injuries. But I remember we used to have the luxury, and then it comes down at the end of the season. We're on to our 5th and 6th string running back, or a guy we just pick up off the streets, and he looks like a decent running back, and then you don't ever hear from him ever since. So it's like, I mean, it's crazy. We just make the most out of these guys.
Yeah, they know how to, like I said, they know how to develop talent. They know how to coach them up, and I think that's why they're okay with always not getting big name players because I think they're confident in their abilities of their coaches. You know, like you said, you get some of these guys that you're like you never even heard of, and they turn them into decent players on the roster. And a lot of their players that are big time contributors they're undrafted. Like Aziz Al Shahir, Emmanuel Mosley, two key starters on this defense. They were both undrafted, man, and now they're in big contract seasons. It's just crazy how they can develop this talent. Now, it doesn't always go well with their early round picks. So I wish their early round picks were maybe as good as their late round picks. Because sometimes, I mean, we can sit here and talk about how they've had some blunders. Dante Pettis, Jalen Hurd, Joe Williams. You had Solomon Thomas, Reuben Fox. They've hit on some late round picks, but they've missed on some early round picks. So I guess it's a balance, how you look at it.
Yeah, it's like a lot of the hit and miss. Like for running backs, we should stay away from drafting them early. Like, dude, if it's not in the 5th round or anywhere later, I don't want to get a running back. Like, just no thanks.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'd rather just get one undrafted.
Yeah, honestly, the way that they turn him out, like Breida, he was undrafted. He got Raheem Mostert, undrafted guy. They put him through special teams, and he became solid with us. Jordan Mason looks like a star. Jamaica Hasty was even undrafted, and he had big minutes for this team. So,
and Jeff Wilson, too.
And Jeff Wilson Jr., undrafted, yeah. So they have a solid group of guys that come out of, undrafted colleges. They're nobodies to some, but they become pretty solid in the team. There is a 3rd-round pick this year, TDP, Ty Davis Price. Hopefully he doesn't follow the trend of Trey Sermon. I think TDP can fit into this roster, but we'll see. I mean, the jury's still out.
Yeah, TDP is more of a physical style running back. Like he's kind of in the contact, not finesse. I mean, when you see him run the ball, he runs with physicality. Yeah. He's got that 4.4 speed. I mean, he's a good running back you can have in the goal line too, like in the 1st and goal situation. If it were to come down to scoring those points, TDP's your guy. Late in the 4th quarter, you want to close out games, TDP would be the guy that you definitely want to run the ball with.
Yeah, he's very, like you said, very physical. He's a guy that does not shy away from contact, man. There was that play in the preseason. You remember where he truck sticks a guy, he hurdled. I was like, holy moly, this guy can move. He can hit. He's going to be a problem once he kind of gets a little bit more comfortable in the system and he's a little bit more decisive. Because when he's decisive, man, he hits that hole and he just rolls with it. So I like him. I think he could be, a different change of pace that the Niners typically have because they're usually that finesse, fast, quick guy. He's got speed, but he's also just a power Mack truck that just can slide down the middle of the field. So I like it. I think you're right. He's going to be a good goal line back. I think he'll fit the system right. And again, the Niners love physicality. This guy's probably the most physical runner on the team. So I think it's going to bode well for him. I like the pick so far. But again, we'll see. These early round picks sometimes at running back, like we just talked about, sometimes they don't pan out. We'll see.
Well, they don't pan out because they overvalue some of these players. Like sometimes when we draft these players, they get overvalued. Like, for example, Aaron Banks, I think he was a reach because they had 3rd and 4th round grade with him, but the Niners were very high on this guy and they took him. So it's like they didn't hesitate. They just took him.
Yeah, I think he was higher on some of the other guys on the draft board. Even though he was a 4th round pick, they were like, okay, we got to get him because the value's here based on how their draft layout was out. So, but you're right. I mean, Aaron Banks has a lot of pressure on his shoulders this year. He's stepping in to replace Laken Tomlinson, who got a bag with the Jets. This guy was durable. He was a Pro Bowl guard. And Aaron Banks has a lot of pressure on him. And they passed up on a lot of good players. Creed Humphrey, Azeez Ojulari, Asante Samuel last year. Like, there was some premium players that they could have had. So, I don't know. Pressure makes diamonds, they say. But this man has a lot of pressure coming in. And that's the biggest concern right now for most Niner fans is this O-line, So Aaron Banks coming in with some pressure tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I'd like to give a shout out to all these people in the comments, man. I'm definitely going to say what's up to my boy Raphael. And even though he's a division rivalry, I got a little respect. I got respect for my guy. He's funny. He's a good person. Crazy Juice, Butterfly. She's always been a great mod. And then Corey Davis. And then Niners All Damn Day. Pretty much Grandizer, cool dude. Yeah, it's a great vibe what I got going on, but I feel like this team in general, we just find these key players like nobody even knows about. Like, I think who can be the most viable player for us this year is like, dude, like you don't even see it coming. That's the crazy part. Like this guy, nobody didn't know about. And I think this dark horse player who could definitely break out this year and nobody's going to even mention much. Like I've kind of praised about him, but I said Spencer Burford could be one of those best offensive linemen for us this year besides Trent Williams.
Yeah, I love Spencer Burford. You've talked to him. I've talked to him a lot. The guy's such a humble dude, nice dude. He's young. I think the only issue with when you have a young lineman is they gotta, limit their mistakes because he's gonna make some mistakes. Penalties is the biggest issue. He had some penalties that last game. Just needs to clean up on that stuff because they're gonna call rookies on some tic tac ass penalties and it's annoying and it might mentally kind of get to his head. But he's a bully, man. This guy out of UTSA, like you've seen him in the preseason, he's been ragdolling dudes, just throwing them around. I like Spencer. I think he has talent to become a really, really good offensive lineman. He was a 4th-round pick. I think he might have been 3rd-round grade if you really look at his film. The guy's really solid. So definitely, I'm pulling for Big Spence. Such a good dude, man. He's just a nice, down-to-earth person. He's that type of guy that you expect the Niners to draft. Good personality. So, yeah, definitely. I don't know if a lot of people will be high on Spence, but I know me and you are. We like the guy.
I know. Like, I wasn't really high on him to be like when the starting process until I started looking more into the offensive lineman. And usually I'm an offensive line guru, so I look all the way towards the senior ball, check out what's on the films and all this stuff. And I looked at Spencer Burford, saw his name pop up a little bit. I said, okay, I might want to check what he's all about. And I said, okay, I like this guy. He plays in a small school, but he stood out. And then I started to figure out, okay, if he has a Twitter, I'll tag him in, see if he'd be interested. And I thought it's a long shot. I don't think he'd be interested. And it took him an hour later to respond. And like, okay, he inboxes me and says, yo.
Wow.
And then he comes up with the schedule. Yeah. And then he follows me instantly. It's like, okay.
Good dude. And then, he's cool with it. Like I remember we did our little podcast with him, and I was like, dude, you came like. So me and my boy that runs the Neighborhood Heroes podcast, shout out to them.
He checked out my interview too.
Yeah, I checked it out. It was good, man. He's a solid dude. So we hit him up a couple weeks, and then he goes, yeah, I'll slide up. And it was like a couple of days before training camp, they had them all in a hotel, like a team hotel. So he hit us up. He goes, yeah, I got nothing to do. You guys want to meet up? I was like, yeah. So we'll go to the hotel, and we pull up, we get a room, and we just did the interview in a hotel room, and he was so cool with us. I was like, dude, no player would do this. He goes, I'm no better. I'm no different than me and you. We both breathe the same oxygen, man. Just a cool dude. And I watched him in the Senior Bowl, and I kind of saw his transition through the process, and I was like, okay, I like this guy. And when we drafted him, I was like, I really started looking at his film. I was like, dude, this guy might be a dog, And then I know he trained with Trent Williams over the offseason, and just watching him during training camp, because I was there the whole time, I saw him. I was like, he really stood out. And then during the preseason, you could kind of just see him get better every day. And they gave him first team reps throughout the whole offseason, man. So this guy definitely has some talent, and I think he's just destined to be a good player. And he's just a good dude, man. That's what I like about him.
He's very likable. He's very much like down to earth. Like this guy, he's pretty much just an average guy, but plays it at a different level. Like when I got a chance to interview him, this was like the most intriguing question or answer he ever gave me. He started playing football at the age of 4. And they told him he wasn't old enough or whatever, but he was a big guy, and he just played it ever since. And yeah, something about him just tells me that he wants to prove that he is worth the pick, even though he should have been drafted a little higher. There was a lot of draft grades with this guy, and this guy had they were putting him low grade, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like he could definitely move up draft boards. And then a lot of people thought I was crazy. And I said, don't be surprised if he becomes one of the starters. I have a feeling he's going to play at the guard spot, one or the other. Like I thought he would play Lincoln Tomlinson's spot, but they had Banks there. So I thought, they're probably going to play the other spot.
Yeah, no, and you're right. I remember when he told us, he goes, because I know he was a tackle, but he could play guards. He pretty much could play anyone in the line except center. So he
said he would do that if he was asked to.
If he was asked, though, yeah, that's what he said. He goes, whatever I got to do. This is what he told me. He goes, whatever I got to do to help this team win, I'll do it. He goes, I don't care. He's like, you play me a guard, tackle. He goes, right now we're focusing on guard. So I mean, we need it. We need all the help we can get on the O line, and I think that's the biggest, like I said, the biggest concern. And if he could shore up that side, then I think that's one less thing to worry about. And I think he has the ability to. The guy, again, like you said, he's just a really down to earth person. He's a very likable guy. And when he's on the field, though, flips the switch and he's got that dog in him. So I'm excited to see how he can transition. Being a starter as a rookie. That's big shoes. But again, he might have some mistakes, just like Trey, like you said. He's a young kid, but they just got to learn from those, those mistakes and get those every day. Every rep, you get better. You stack those reps and you get better through it. So.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, dude. It's all about the reps and all about getting better. And then this year's draft class, it just seems like it's a pretty damn good draft class. Like since I can remember, man. Like if I thought of a good draft class, the 2011 had some decent class.
Yeah, no, this is looking like a really, really good class. I mean, obviously they just started, they haven't played, but I mean, in 3 years, when we look back at it, this could be one of the better draft classes we've had in a long time. And I'm just saying, Drake Jackson was a steal with the 61st pick. This guy looks like he might just he might be what we really wanted out of D4. Like, this guy's got a motor. Him and
Aldon Smith without the trouble.
Yeah, exactly. He's Aldon Smith without the trouble. He's got that. God, that bend is crazy off the edge.
The Dwight Freeney stuff. Oh, dude.
Oh man, it's scary. So this guy could be solid with us. We see the speed Danny Gray has. He's going to be that deep threat weapon.
Ooh, yeah. 6'2", 200-pound guy. Ooh, the guy can catch.
Quick, man. And then my boy Sam Womack. This guy.
Ooh, yeah, dog. He fights for that ball.
Yeah, he's a playmaker. Every game this preseason, he was part of a turnover. 2 interceptions. Got the PBU, so Tarvarius Moore could get the interception. The game where Malik Turner had the little peanut punch, he picked up the fumble. This guy was active all over the place. He might be the guy that really comes in and replaces K'Wan Williams. So, very solid player. Then they got a couple other depth pieces, like we talked about. TDP, Nick Zakel, future center in the league. Very good draft. I think the only one, unfortunately we had to let go was Tariq Castro-Fields. They thought he was going to clear waivers and get back to the practice squad, but the Washington Commanders claimed him. I thought he was a solid developmental player. Commanders snagged him, so unfortunate for us.
Oh, yeah. Commanders felt like there was a lot of upside there. Sometimes you make those cuts and sometimes you lose these players. So it's like I think it was Jonah Dotson who kind of convinced the Washington Commanders to pick him up.
Man, that's tough. I think he'll be a solid little player. Again, he just needed a little bit more seasoning, and I think that was their plan was, okay, we'll cut him. Hopefully nobody picks him up off of waivers. We can put him on the practice squad, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But they got a lot of good undrafted players that did make it. Quantrez Knight, I like him. Taylor Hawkins. They got some players that they could sit and develop. So overall, this was a very solid draft class for the 49ers.
Oh, yeah, it is. And, yeah, David's right about this one. Yeah, I definitely interviewed Jason Poe also, but I felt like having him on the practice squad's a bonus because I think he'd be ready by next year. Because usually when we get some undrafted guys, they tend to make the roster the following year.
Yeah, they sure do. Again, they sit there, they really put them through the system, and they learn. And then the next year, when they come to camp, they're so hungry and they're ready to go out there and say, okay, last year I didn't quite make it. Now I know what it takes to go and make this roster. And then they become blossom stars. Like I remember Azeez Al-Shahir, when he first came to the roster, guy was so raw. He had the talent. You could see it. He's so raw. And then the next year, he kind of made it to the 53-man roster. He played a lot of special teams. And I was like, okay, this guy's standing. And then they gave him some opportunities. Injuries sprung out. And then, boom, broke out last year. And that's what happens with this team is they get them on the practice squad. They show them the ropes, show them the technique, show them the scheme. And then, boom, the next year they really start taking off. So, yeah, Jason Poe, definitely good dude. Talk to him, too. The guy's another just guy that wants to go out there and really work, really prove himself. And just another humble. That's the guys they draft, man. They have just very likable individuals,
Oh, yeah, they are. They're very much like the way we develop them. We put them in the right situation. If they're not ready, we're just hoping that no other team claims them. But it's pretty much like the Tyreek Castro field. I felt like if we would have stashed them, it would have been beneficial for next year. But I feel like we do put on the right players at the right situation. Like when we got dude, there were certain players we cut. And I felt like, I thought Komodo Turby made a case to make the roster, but him going to the practice squad is a huge plus.
Yeah, it's a bonus. They can call him up whenever they need. That D line was so good. It was so much depth. It was like you knew someone was, like we talked about earlier, somebody good was going to get cut from this roster, and you can't have hard feelings for it. But he was. I thought he was going to get claimed. A very good veteran. Big bonus, man. That they were able to keep him on the practice squad. Practice squad we have is it's pretty damn talented, man. You know what I mean? Like this is a very talented practice squad. And then Malik Turner, another quality veteran, I thought was going to make the 53-man roster. It's another guy that really is a big dub for this practice squad. If they need to call him up middle of the season, there might be an injury to wide receivers. That happens, unfortunately. Or if they need someone on that special teams to be called up.
Oh, he steps in.
Yeah, that's the guy.
I really thought he did make a strong case the way he was playing. Even on special teams, he made a fumble or one of those key plays, and then he did pretty solid as a receiver. And they made these crazy cuts, and then we were able to keep some players. Like, I don't know, this is not a surprise. Dante comes and goes. He comes around. He's that one guy we can count on, and nobody's gonna want him. So hey, he's like the best guy. Hey, we'll cut you. Hey, you can come back.
I love Dante, man. He's been through this team for a lot. I think Dave Lombardi said that this was his 15th transaction with the Niners. He's been signed 15 times by the Niners, man. Like, come on.
That's a record right there, and he comes back.
They're like, all right, we got to cut you. Hey, Dante, we need you, man. Like, we need you. And then the other crazy part is he's had 35 total transactions in his whole career. Like, that's crazy. This man, you talk about journeyman. This is definition. But, Dante's solid. He could play any position on the secondary. If they need someone in a pinch and, injury comes up, Dante can come in and do what he's got to do. He's been on this team forever. Got to love it. He don't complain.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't seem like he complains because he knows he wants another opportunity to play. So it's like we even got Deshaun Gibson to come on the roster, too. And then Jordan Willis, even though we cut him, he's already been added to the active roster too. So who was the other player that we put in? I know it was Jordan Willis and another player we added to the active roster.
Tyler Kroft and Jordan Willis were added back because they put Jimmy Ward and Curtis Robinson on the short.
Oh, yeah, the tight end. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they got four
Tyler Kroft is good. Yeah, I've heard like he's very solid, but we cut him and then he comes back. I guess he was promised to come back.
Yeah, they did. They made an agreement because Jimmy Ward and Curtis Robinson, since they were hurt, they were like, okay, we can put them on the injury reserve, but they had to make the roster, initial roster, so they can do that. That's the rule. And then they got Tyler Kroft, and they got 4 tight ends, and then you got the extra lineman, Jordan Willis. So this team is loaded with depth, man, and it's going to be tough when one of those 2 guys back, especially Ward, when he comes back. Who do you cut? Who do you release to? Maybe there'll be another injury. Maybe there'll be a guy not playing good. So then we got another question down in a couple of weeks. Who do we cut again? So.
In a couple of weeks.
Yeah, 4 weeks at least, unless he's not healthy. But as long as he's healthy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's on the short-term IR. For Jimmy Ward, he has to at least, he'll return after week 4. So the only question mark I'm wondering is who's going to play that spot. I'm guessing it's Tavares Moore or I'm hearing George Odom. I don't know which one it is.
I don't know. I think Tavares Moore probably gets it. He's a little bit better in coverage. Odom was missing some tackles in the training camp in preseason, but he's a big-time special teams guy. So we'll see. That is definitely a good question. Unless they're like, all right, screw, we got to call up Dante Johnson or Deshaun Gibson because those 2 guys were brought back for a reason. If they don't like what they see out of Tavares Moore or George Odom, and yeah, they'll probably call up Gibson or Dante. They're both veterans. The thing with Tavares Moore is, he's coming in this season. He had a torn Achilles last year, so I don't know how effective he's going to be. He was kind of inconsistent during preseason. He had some big moments, but he had some bad moments. So there's a little inconsistency there, and it might be a problem. That Jimmy Ward injury is going to be tough. I'm glad it's early. I'm glad, it's not later in the season because we got some big matchups and we're going to need them for those games, man.
Yeah, we are. So it's better to get it now than later because late in the season, that's where it becomes a huge factor. We've always been the team that suffered the injuries late in the season sometimes you'll catch a little break, but sometimes you don't. So it's Jimmy Ward's kind of like that glue of that defense. Like he makes the secondary solid. It's like, despite my opinion about him, he is the eraser, like they say. So he gets the job done when it needs to be.
I'm a big Jimmy Ward guy, man. He's always battled adversity. I've always been a big fan of him. He's a big, like you said, he's the glue guy. He's a captain on that defense, big time leader, kind of that communication guy where he tells people where they got to be. And it's gonna be tough without him because his coverage is underrated. And we're gonna really have a test these next couple weeks. Again, it isn't. I am glad it is early. I know Seattle's not good, because they don't have a great line, they don't have a great quarterback. But that's a division rival. And division rivals, they are going to get up for a game no matter what. And Pete Carroll, he's a good coach. I hate to say it, but that week 2 game, even though they got Geno Smith and Drew Lock at quarterback, Geno Smith's the starter.
It could be a trap.
It could be a tough game. You're right, because they got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Those 2 guys are no slouches. And we might be looking ahead for that Denver game. So it's going to be a tougher game than a lot of people expect. Division rival, no Jimmy Ward. It's going to be a little tougher than we expect. I don't know.
We're just hoping that Geno or Drew Lock throws those interceptions and we get some of those little limited yardage and then we come up with a dominant fashion. That's what we're hoping for, but it could be one of those surprise games where it's an ugly game and maybe we made Geno look like a freaking damn good quarterback for that week and then the following day he looks like trash.
Yeah, I hope we don't make Geno look good because, we ain't get the end of it on 49ers Twitter. Oh, they are not. Geno Smith, they should have traded. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, they're going to say, oh, Geno could be the answer. And then the next week, they'll probably bash him and say, he's not the answer now.
Yeah. You know how it goes.
Like week 1, it's pretty much the Bears. We got to see what we can do against them. I think the Bears are a young, hungry team. We're definitely coming into the road as favorites because we're like the road warriors, like they say. We play well on the road. We don't play good at home at times. But when it comes to playing on the road, it's always in our favor.
Yeah, you're right. Honestly, Niners do well on the road because they have a great fan base. Niner fans, the faithful, you guys travel well and they know how to hype up the team and they like to play on the road a little bit more sometimes. It's tough. I feel like they do struggle at home a little bit more. It's weird. I go to these home games sometimes and I'm like, the hell did I just watch? Like, come on, man. But that week 1 game is gonna be tough because Chicago home opener. They got a new coach. They got a new squad. A lot of young players. Justin Fields, he's hyping himself up, chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove that he was the guy, and a lot of teams passed up on him, including the Niners. And it's gonna be a fun matchup. I think this is gonna be a budding rivalry between Trey Lance and Justin Fields. Trey Lance's first big start this year, as QB1 of the Niners and in the Trey Lance era. So a lot of pressure. It's going to be a fun game. I think the Niners definitely should be favorite. They got 7 players that were in the NFL top 100. They got an elite roster, Super Bowl caliber type of team. A lot of expectations. They were, in the NFC Championship game, a couple minutes away from making it to the Super Bowl. So still have high expectations, but it won't be easy. No game is easy in the NFL.
No, it won't.
It's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be easy. You're walking into a road game where everybody expects the Niners to just like throttle them. Everybody's saying, "Oh, we should blow them out." I think it's gonna be a little closer than everybody expects. And the Bears played us good last year. They almost beat us.
Yeah, they kind of played a very close game, but when it came to the second half, that's when we started making those adjustments, and that's when we started closing out the game eventually. But here's a fun fact. We've only lost 2 road games since 2019, so let that sink in. I feel confident, but the question mark with all the naysayers is, can Trey do the job? That's the one question mark. Everybody is putting Trey Lance in the spotlight because he's the greatest mystery. Like, I've seen a lot of content creators of our fan base and content creators of other fans, they find Trey Lance as the most intriguing guy, like the greatest mystery. Can he really be the missing piece for the Niners' chance to the Super Bowl, or can he just be the downgrade of Jimmy Garoppolo? That's the one question we all want to know.
This is definitely the big question of the year. Like, how good is Trey going to be? They traded up to get him. They traded up the multiple first to go and get that 3rd pick instead of the 12, and a lot of pressure on him. Regardless of what was going to happen with Jimmy, there was going to be pressure on Trey. He's going to be under the biggest microscope of the NFL this season. You know, there's going to be a lot of people under a microscope, but I feel like Trey Lance is going to be like the biggest under the biggest microscope. I really feel like it, and you know, a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure. He's 22 years old. Like, I think people forget the fact that he's only 22. He's barely been drinking for a year, right? He's only been of an age for a year, man. It's crazy. 22 years old, starting quarterback the 49ers. It's one of the most prestigious jobs in the world. You know, always a pressure cooker when you're a 49ers quarterback. There's always a lot of baggage that comes with it. The fans have high expectations. And again, we were several minutes away from a Super Bowl last year. So he's got a great team with a lot of expectations to kind of take. I think he's going to do good. There's definitely a lot of people that want to see him fail. But I think he's a smart young man. He's a humble young man. The way he carries himself, his interviews are flawless, man. And he just knows, you know,
Professional.
what it's take. He's a very good professional. Hungry kid, and I think he wants to go out there and prove himself, and I think he will. He's smart. He's hungry. I think he's ready for the moment.
Oh yeah, he's very straightforward. He acts like more older than his age says. You know, he's 22, but he acts more like he's in his 30s or a little older. Like, he just keeps it calm. He doesn't let it bother him, and it doesn't get too big for him. But man, I like these interesting, funny little questions. Yeah, I can make some bomb hamburgers. I do on the grill. But hey, Trey Lance, can he be the answer? We shall see. That is great, man. Like, you know what's great about this season? We get a chance to silence the doubters. We get a chance to maybe surprise people because they're having us going below, like maybe like a like they see us maybe like a 10-win team, but below or something, like a 9.5 win team, but maybe better. We shall see.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people are praying for our downfall. I feel like that's how it always goes. You know, the Niners always play as the underdogs. We always have to keep the receipts. But you're right. There's definitely going to be a lot of doubters and naysayers, and it's like that every year. Like, every year, there's another reason for teams to doubt us, and now they're doubting us because of Trey Lance. So not only does Trey have to prove everybody wrong, it's the team has to prove everybody wrong that they didn't draft the wrong guy. So this is another year where we got to keep the receipts. It's every year, every single year, my man. Like, it's all right. The Niners, they're not going to do good. It is not going to be good. They're going to be now. They got a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback that he's not ready. Trey's not. Every year, there's always some narrative that the Niners are going to fall on their face. For the most part, under Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. I mean, we've had some injury-riddled seasons, but for the most part, they do a pretty damn good job, and you know, they prove people wrong. You know, 2 NFC Championship games, a Super Bowl. I wish we would have won, but they got some good talent. They got great depth, and I think Trey Lance and the Niners are ready to silence everybody up.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Do you feel like this is a 3-year window for us to seize that 6 Lombardi, or do you feel like it's just wait and see what happens?
I mean, I think we do have maybe 3-4 years, because you got to realize we got Nick Bosa entering the prime of his career. You got Debo's right now in the prime of his. Ayuk's about to turn, you know, into a big time player, hopefully, and kind of ascend into his peak. Fred Warner's like in his prime. You got Kittle, you know, playing in his prime. So you got a lot of really good players in the peak of their careers or about to start. A lot of good young players that we have for years to go. And Trey Lance, he's only in his first season as a starting quarterback. So, you know, he's young. He's got a couple more years left on his rookie contract. So I feel like these next 3 to 4 years, they can really get things jiving and maybe at least win a Super Bowl or two. So they have a, you know, about 3-4 year window. I think it could extend depending on how they, you know, continue to build this team, how they continue to draft and things like that. But for now, I mean, I think you have a few years because Kittle's not going to be elite forever. Debo's not going to be elite forever. They got these couple years, and then, you know, injuries happen. Ayuk, you know, how long will he be on the team? Will they extend him after next year, you know? And Nick Bosa's going to get a massive contract. So those guys will be there. But eventually Trent Williams will be gone. And, you know, so I feel like he's getting older too. You know, you can't expect him to be freaking best left tackle in the league for another 6 years, maybe 2-3 years. So we'll see. I think these next couple of years will be fun, to be interesting. We should be perennial playoff contenders, and hopefully through those years we can at least win a Super Bowl. I need one, man. I need a Super Bowl championship.
Yeah, I need one too myself. But do you really feel that Richard Sherman is a little on point of that prediction? Because that one was the most intriguing what he put out there. Like, he predicts that the Niners versus the Buffalo Bills, with the Niners winning the Super Bowl. But what's very interesting about this Super Bowl, it's going to be in Arizona. Like 2 years ago, the Niners played the Bills, and they only lost by 10 points with Nick Mullins at quarterback. Or was it C.J. Beathard, one or the other?
Yeah, no, honestly, I know Sherman loves the Niners. He's a former Niner. He's going to hype them
He
up.
used to hate us.
It's crazy. We used to hate Sherman. He's like, it's just crazy how he went from the ultimate villain to now he's like revealed as a hero, a legend. Like, it's like the craziest character arc of all time. You remember after that damn NFC title game, championship game where, oh, you try me with the sorry receiver like crap. You remember that, man?
That's what I'm going to get.
I wanted to throw a remote in my TV. I wanted to break that man's neck. Then he ate the turkey on the 50-yard line. Like, I hated that man. Now I love him. And you're right. Like, he sees what I think Niner fans see. And, the media is not going to sit there and tell the Niners are going to. He sees it because he's been in that clubhouse. And like he said, he goes, Trey and Jimmy, they can coexist because they're good friends. The way that the Niners handle their business is it's a team approach. It's a family. They don't have one person above anybody else. And he sees how good this defense can be because he was on that defense. So I think he sees the potential. And the NFC's wide open. The NFC, there's not like an elite team that you're always going to run away with it. Everybody thinks Tom Brady and the Bucs will just waltz right into the NFC Championship game. They got O-line issues. Their defense isn't as good as it was. Godwin's going to miss some time this season. Tom Brady's going through some shit himself. I mean, let's be honest. We don't know what he's going
through.
Yeah, he's the wife. He got some.
Retire, Tom Brady. You're going to make it worse.
I'm telling you, man. So there's not an elite team, I think, in the NFC. And everybody wants to say that the Rams, hey, Super Bowl hangover is a real thing. And Stafford's dealing with some arm issues. I'm going to tell you
and
what.
And that line's no joke.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think the Niners do have a chance to make it back. I mean, Trey Lance, definitely a young quarterback, but he has a good team around him. And it's not impossible for a young quarterback to make it that far. There have been others in the past that have done it. It's not an impossible thing. We have a good, hungry, young team. Again, 7 players in the NFL top 100. But the Bills, I think that the Bills are coming out of the AFC. I mean, you have a rock solid stacked team.
Yeah, they do.
I think the AFC Championship, again, we don't know how teams are going to line up, but I could see it being the Chargers and the Bills in the AFC. One of those teams makes it to the Super Bowl. And if the Niners can stay healthy and play to their potential with their defense and their run game, I can see them making it. I think it's not a bad prediction. And of course, we're Niner fans. We want to see it. But it's not very unrealistic. It's a realistic prediction.
Oh, it is, because we're built with the Super Bowl roster. And, this might sound like a crazy prediction, but the last couple of years, the teams who hosted a home Super Bowl, but maybe we can end that streak with going against the Cardinals at their home field. Maybe we'd be able to end that, because 2 straight years, a home team has hosted a Super Bowl with a win.
Yeah. I don't think Arizona is going to make it to Super Bowl. Arizona's, they got their issues. They got a lot of issues. So.
But it'd be kind of nice to just play them at that stadium just to get a good look at the home field.
Yeah, you're right. Well, we played them in Mexico, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't you think it kind of makes sense on this possible matchup that you saw, like, potential of 2 years ago where it was played in Arizona? Like, dude, it seems like it's got written all over it.
It kind of does. Sometimes it seems like it's a script that the NFL writes, So we'll see, man.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely see. I'm excited, man. Week 1 can't come soon enough. I can't wait for next week to see Trey Lance and Justin Fields and Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, man, I'm excited to see Nick Bosa rip this league.
All right, dude, there's like different possibilities of what we can see. The Ravens going all the way to the Super Bowl, and the Niners come with vengeance and beat them. Lamar Jackson doesn't do nothing in the Super Bowl. He wins the MVP of the league, but doesn't win the Super Bowl. And the Niners come with vengeance from Super Bowl 47. That's possible.
I don't care who we play. If the Niners
redemption of the Chiefs from Super Bowl 54.
Yeah, Kittle and the Niners get their revenge. I mean, honestly,
yeah.
I don't care who we play, but if we do get revenge on a team, it will make it that much more sweeter. So I don't know who we're going to play. I don't care who we get to play as long as we win one. But if we do play one of those teams, it would make it a little bit sweeter than anybody else. Those 2 teams did beat us in the Super Bowl.
But I just think that it would be more sweeter just to beat Baltimore, because they have yet to lose a Super Bowl. We give them that first loss.
Give them that loss.
And Lamar Jackson comes away with tears of defeat, and we win.
All all I need.
Or Patrick Mahomes goes into another appearance and has a second straight Super Bowl loss
I need
and
to see
loses to
Patrick Mahomes crying. I need to see Jackson and his and
the
Patrick's wife.
TikTok cry, baby.
He'll be crying on TikTok, doing his little
Or
TikTok dance, crying.
yeah, we'll see. We're not getting too ahead of ourselves, but we're just looking at the possibilities. But hey, I definitely appreciate you being on the show, man. I know you've already got some stuff doing, bro, but I'm definitely looking forward to the upcoming season and definitely looking forward. Maybe you should get me on your show, but tell everybody where they can find you on social media platform.
Yeah, of course, man. Appreciate you having me. We'll definitely have to have you link in on my show one of these days. OurSF49ers, like it says on the ticker, on Instagram, on Twitter, and on YouTube. OurSF49ers. Keep it simple. It's the same name on all platforms. Appreciate you, my man.
Yeah, for sure, bro. And as always, CG Ruthless and ours SF49ers Raj is out, man. We'll see y'all this coming season. Peace.